Madam Speaker, and firstly, can I congratulate you, my heartfelt congratulations on becoming the Speaker. Not only have you served the Territorians in this House for the longest, you are of great high character, and I sat next to you in the last Assembly and I can absolutely vouch for you on that. But besides all of those things, I think it's a real tribute to our new Chief Minister to put an independent Speaker in Parliament for this 15th Legislative Assembly. And not only that, the Leader of Government Business talking about the scrutiny committees, which will be coming back into this Parliament, which I think is something that was genuinely missing from the last Parliament. There'd be legislation just rammed through left, right and centre without it being taken to an election. And the other part that I thought was really courageous of the Chief Minister and the whole government on this side, the new CLP government, was the fact that petitions are now going to have double the length of time. And I'm sure that you would remember, Madam Speaker, that we didn't get to debate very many petitions in the last Legislative Assembly. I think there were 2 or 3 in total, and one of them, of course, was the petition of Samara Labadie, which we'll be talking about later this week. But I also think it's credit where credit's due. I mean, the Labor Party really have had a tough time over the last 7 weeks since the election. They have, pretty much been wiped out in Darwin and Palmerston. So, but credit where credit's due. They've come into Parliament, and conversations, obviously, with the Chief Minister and the Leader of the Opposition have agreed that things are going to be different in this Legislative Assembly. I mean, the fact that we didn't have to have a debate about the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker in our first sittings, like we did last time and several times after change of ministries, is, it's a testament to you, Leader of the Opposition. I thank you for working together with the Parliament and with the government. I mean, I think that's a real difference compared to the last sittings. So to your team, I trust that this is the beginning of a really respectful Parliament, and that we can have some really serious and robust conversations, but that we can be respectful to one another. I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And I must say, Madam Speaker, what an emotional and heartwarming day so far it has been. And I know we haven't heard from everybody yet in this address and reply, but so far, I must say, I am incredibly proud of every single person that I have heard and listened to today, especially our newest CLP members. We've got MLAs and we've got ministers. And it just takes me back to the very first moments that I met all of you. And I was just sitting there listening. I mean, I've had tears through quite a few of yours today. Ollie Carlson, thanks. I had to go straight to the bathroom after yours. But it just took me back to the times that we've had together, that we've shared throughout this whole journey. I'm going to say their names. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but Jinson, Ollie and Coda, all of those multicultural events that we went to every single weekend, you were always there. You were always up on stage supporting the groups that were organising these amazing events. I mean, you taught me how to fall in love with these events. They have such fun and there's just so much vibrancy, but you were there every step of the way, and it was a joy to be there with you. Not only that, but also the door knocking times that I came with all of you. That was fantastic, and I really feel this connection because of those in the trenches times that we had. Clinton and Matt, and of course Leah, our wonderful Chief Minister, is in this too. But those times out at Palmerston, standing at the Palmerston markets for years and years on end, to be honest. I mean, Matt, years and years on end, right? And to listen to you talk today about that journey, I mean, I think, Matt, yours started in 1885 or something, which I thought, uh-oh, we are in for a real treat here. But you really wrapped it up nicely. And I've got to say, I'm just so, so proud of you, Matt. I really am. You tested me to no end, but over some times, but I can tell you I'm very, very proud. I know the hard work you're already putting into Blaine. I mean, you're going to turn that community around. They've had a really rough time, and I'm so proud. And the same with you, Clinton. You unseated the Chief Minister, and I just, I knew from day one that you had it, but you really did excel in every single way. And I'm sure there's something that I could say about every single one of you, and I'm probably just taking up too much time now, and I'm sure that other people want to speak. To the people in Brennan who re-elected me, and I must say, in 2020 when I was first elected, I guess you don't know what you don't know, so you sort of just put your all into it, and you go hell for leather to really, work really hard to show your community that you are the best representation for them, and that's what you do for a number of months leading into an election for the first time, and many of my colleagues have been through that very recently. But then you start to represent them in Parliament as well as officially, and they come to you and it's a level of trust that they put into you that you are going to be able to help them up on their journey of whatever it might be. And it really is so many things that happen in people's lives which they come and talk to you about, and it's been a real honour to be able to be that person that either is just there to listen or to take some serious action or to bring in things to Parliament which matter to them. It's an absolute honour, and I just thank all of those people that voted for me not only once, but then of course all of the new people that voted for me so that they ended up voting for me twice, plus all the new people, because obviously I had a very good result out there. But I just hope that shows other people who are interested in representing their community. It really is about putting yourself in their minds front and centre, that you are the one that can help them if they are ever needing some help. So I want to thank them. They entrusted me, they shared things with me that they probably have never shared with anyone before, and I've never broken that trust. I never have spoken about anyone to anyone else unless I've got their permission. And so I just wanted to say a big thank you. To my family, that my mum was here most of today. I think she waited till our last new member, Tanzel, spoke, and then she left, but she was here right from the start. She has been an absolute rock for me. The last couple of years has been a bit tricky with halfway through this last term of Assembly, my father passed away suddenly during sittings. I was having a quick debrief with the Chief Minister, or she was obviously not the Chief Minister then, to prepare for some media that I was about to do, and I got the dreaded phone call that something bad had happened, and so I raced out of here at a rate of knots. Thank goodness Leah said it was okay for me to go, and of course it didn't end well. I was up at the hospital to say goodbye to him. And so that's really tough on a Member of Parliament, or anyone really. And I know that many of us in here have gone through these things before, but I think making him feel so proud, like he was up here 4 years ago, sitting over there as I was doing my maiden speech, bawling his eyes out, and he was really proud, and I was able to do that for him. That's probably really something that I will remember forever. And even though he's not here with me now as a minister in a new government, but I know that he's looking down on me. I'm so glad my mum was there today. The volunteers who helped me throughout the campaign, including those of the CLP Calder branch, they put in a mountain of work, and I'm just forever grateful. There were a few of them here today with us as well early this morning, and they know who they are, so I'm not going to name them. But I want to give a shout out, not necessarily to name them, but to talk about the volunteers who came out of the woodwork over the 4 years. We had lots of new volunteers come and help, not only myself, but a lot of people out of Palmerston, a lot of our new members at Palmerston, to be able to campaign for us and letterbox for us. And they were people that I'd met during the journey, which I think is, I felt like it was a testament to the work that I'd put in. So I just wanted to thank those people as well. The biggest lesson I learnt from this campaign and the results of the election was that we were out listening to Territorians for a very long time. We only ever spoke about what Territorians spoke to us about. There wasn't anything else going on in our minds. We would come to Parliament, we would put forward motions to discuss and debate things that were important to them. And unfortunately, that wasn't happening on the other side of the chamber, in the government side, and they ultimately lost. During the election, we heard loud and clear that their number one concern was community safety, and that is why this week we will pass a whole heap of legislation which points to being able to make our community safe and to ensure that the offenders are held to account and there are consequences, and of course some prevention around that. The commitment we have to rebuilding our economy is incredibly important. And crime fits in with that so nicely, because if you can't reduce the crime, then you can't rebuild the economy. And I've heard from my colleague, the Treasurer, about a lot of the things that we're working on that space. But I wanted to touch on the fact that when it comes to some of the policies that we have, even though that it may not affect me directly in a ministry, I'm actually really proud of the fact that we brought back the Minister for Asian Trade and Relations, or Asian Relations, in my colleague, Minister Carl. I think that's a huge thing. And I remember back to my maiden speech, I talked about the territory being the gateway to Asia. So I'm really proud that we now have that. And it was certainly something that I was pushing in with our team to make sure that that was a commitment to Territorians, because it was certainly something that was raised with me when I was doing events with the either community members or business leaders. The other part about my maiden speech that I mentioned was tourism. And at the time, I didn't know that I was going to be a Minister for Tourism. So it's quite uncanny that that's happened. And I'm really proud of the fact that I am the Minister for Tourism and Hospitality. And I'm very excited that shortly we'll be talking about our military tourism plan and how we want to showcase Darwin as Australia's own battlefield, and we'll be able to promote the products, because we know that people will come from all over the world to come and look at our military heritage that we have. The other really exciting part about being the Tourism Minister and the Minister for Major Events is that I got to release the initial CLP initiative of the $1 Million Fish. So $1 Million Fish has been running for 10 seasons. It was a CLP initiative back in the day, long before I was in this chamber. And it's... Where's that? Well, I can tell you that as of today, there has been 10 fish actually caught that have been tagged, and they're all $10,000 fish, but those people who have caught that are very, very happy. The 10th one, which was just announced today, was actually the one that I released in Dinah Beach, so it was pretty special to hear that today. They're calling it the Minister's $1 Million Fish, which is pretty funny. But I'm just proud of that one, because it was a CLP initiative back in the day. I do thank the Labor government for all those years continuing with it, because I think they knew it was a good policy, and it's fantastic that it's continuing on now. The other part that I'm really proud about was the fight that we took to the election about payroll tax and reducing that burden on businesses. As a former business owner, and then I was the shadow minister for business for all those years, I'm really proud of that one. I think that's going to make a huge difference to be able to rebuild our economy. And I know the Treasurer is looking to implement that as soon as possible. There are so many businesses out there that if they had a bit of a break and they could start to put on some apprenticeships and traineeships, they could actually grow their businesses. And even if only a handful of those grew, our territory economy would be doing so much better. So I'm very excited about that. Look, as a new minister, I'm going through all of the things that I need to understand about how our ministries work and how the departments work, and people are coming and talking to me from outside of government as well, the stakeholders that have been interested in the portfolios that I look after. And I can tell you that it's going to be a big job. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems that have been created over a very long time. I feel like everyone comes to me with problems and needing money, but it's just very difficult to be able to work out exactly what to do. And that's why we're looking at our priorities first. And I'm really proud of the priorities that we're bringing forward to this particular sittings and this first sittings with our law reforms. And I know that even though it's hard and there's a lot of work to be done, that we are steadfast in our commitment to what we took to the election, which was to reduce crime, rebuild the economy and restore our lifestyle. And as we heard from our Chief Minister earlier today, that started on day one after winning the election, when she sat down with the Police Commissioner and immediately set a course of change for the territory. And it's change that we needed. We took change. It's time for change. It's time for courage, Clinton. We took that to the election. Time for change, and it is now time. And I'm very excited to be able to be part of this government that is on this journey to be able to change the territory for the better. I'm very proud to be the Attorney General who is working with a team to reduce crime and to actually look after our victims, which actually includes the children. And I heard the Shadow Attorney General say that all we want to do is lock up kids. It could not be more further from the truth. I mean, there's reasons why we're going to make the minimum age of responsibility 10. We need to intervene with these children's lives. Their lives are not better off after a long time. They are worse now than they ever have been. And we cannot afford for our children to not be given the right to be cared for, to be loved, to be fed, to have a safe place to live and to go to school. And so we will do whatever it takes to make sure our children are safe, fed, loved and out of prison, because we don't want that. We want them to have a life beyond what's happening now, and we want them to be our future. So, Madam Speaker, I'm very proud to be part of a CLP government led by Leah Finocchiaro, our Chief Minister. She has been absolutely relentless in the pursuit of taking the Territory to new levels of highs. It's going to take some time, it's going to take hard work, I know that. There's lots to be done, but we are so optimistic about the future. And with this team of incredible Territorians around me, I am full of hope and optimism. My community in Brennan are full of hope and optimism. And to be honest, everywhere I go, it's the same. And I was even in your hometown, Alice Springs, over the weekend, Madam Speaker, and there are still lots of challenges down there, and I'm still hearing lots of challenges, of course. But the one message I got was there is hope and optimism. Thank you, Madam Speaker.